From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Nigeria records 836 cases, 80 deaths as Kano worst hit by disease. Sokoto State residents opt for sweet potatoes as cost of rice and other food items skyrockets. Nguru market remains passive 6 months after. And on the foreign scene, at least 12 killed in building collapse in Cameroon's Douala city. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I'm Aisha Salihu. Many thanks for joining us at this hour. We begin the bulletin with Nigeria recording a total of 836 confirmed cases and 80 deaths from diphtheria between May and June 2023, according to the Diphtheria Situation Room. A report released Saturday by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The confirmed cases were recorded across 33 local government areas in 7 states and the FCT. Within the period under review, NCDC stated a total of 2,455 suspected cases were reported from 24 states. It added that 71.5% of the confirmed cases occurred among children aged 2 to 14 years. Despite diphtheria being a vaccine-preventable disease, NCDC noted that only 181, that is 21.7% out of 836 confirmed cases were fully vaccinated with a diphtheria toxin-containing vaccine. According to the situation report, Kano State accounted for 819 confirmed cases out of the total 836 cases. Dr. Sadia Gumi is a London-based medical practitioner, and she joins us via Zoom to share perspective on diphtheria. Welcome to News Hour, Dr. Sadia.
Thank you very much.
Now, we are well aware that diphtheria is a vaccine-preventable disease, yet it has killed 80 so far with 836 cases in Nigeria. What do you think could be responsible for this?
So as you rightly said, diphtheria is a vaccine-preventable disease. And it's sad to hear that, at this age, can you hear me?
I'm with you,
yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, at this time, we're still having more and more cases, children dying, people dying. Almost 80 people, as you said, have died, and 836 cases have been reported. So even though it's a vaccine preventable disease, it's not 100% prevention. So if people have it, it's likely to, reduce the really severe form of diphtheria. But as we said, a lot of people, don't want to have vaccines. So my understanding is I think there are 3 main issues why maybe we're seeing more and more outbreak of this. One is the just low intake of vaccination. As we know, diphtheria is one of the illnesses that children are given vaccination when they're young. So in particular for diphtheria, you would give a child at about 6 weeks of age, 10 weeks and 14 weeks. So we know all the conspiracy theories surrounding vaccination. So even some educated people don't like, taking vaccination or giving it to their children. Talk less of people that are uneducated or living in rural areas. So I feel this is one of the reasons people are not really getting these vaccinations. Secondly, the reason might be because of low sanitization. So with diphtheria, the way it's being transmitted is by, somebody coughing or sneezing, or if you touch someone, with an infected lesion, you can get it. So it's highly contagious. So if you're looking at places that are condensed, overpopulated, poor sanitation, so this would increase, the risk of getting this outbreak. Then the third cause that I think is lack of just general healthcare infrastructure. So in Nigeria, I know even just common diarrhea, vomiting, children are dying from it. So if you look, with diphtheria, if early diagnosis and management would, prevent deaths. But as we know how the system is, people are very poor. There's lack of, health facilities. There is lack of healthcare professionals that might be able to give advice and diagnose this on time and to, treat it. So even if it's diagnosed on time, sometimes, there's just maybe people can't afford the medication. So I think these are the three reasons that I think maybe there's an outbreak of this, and more and more cases are being reported.
Those perspectives. Now, this brings me to my next question. Many resist immunization because they do not trust vaccines coming from donor agencies. And do you share the view that vaccines, if locally produced, can be more widely accepted by the people?
So I think we can see from even the COVID, there was so much regarding, the COVID vaccine at that time. And as I said, there's a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding just vaccination in general. People are very skeptical. And just recently, I saw an article saying, is Bill Gates responsible for diphtheria outbreak? Because they associated that with his visit in June and then the outbreaks or something like that in July. So you can see how people are, very suspicious and not trusting, especially if it comes from, like foreigners. So I feel if we can produce our own vaccines in Nigeria, maybe people will be more acceptable to it. But as we know, this is maybe going to be a long time and we're faced with an outbreak now. So I would encourage people, to believe in these vaccines, and as much as possible, if they can get it, for their children, and maybe seek medical advice on time, so that even if they have the symptoms, they can be treated straight away. Because, with treatment, it's curable. So I feel, maybe the government should try and get these vaccines produced locally. But in the meantime, we're dealing with an outbreak and we need to do something as soon as possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sadiya Gumi, joining us from the United Kingdom for such insights on the diphtheria disease in Nigeria. We do hope you join us in subsequent bulletins.
Thank you very much for having me.
Moving on, many people following the outbreak of some killer diseases in many parts of the country, nursing mothers in Kano State are submitting their children for immunization. The Commissioner for Health in the state, Dr. Abubakar Labran Yusuf, appealed to mothers whose children have not been vaccinated to take them to designated centers and get them immunized for free. Hamid Oyegbade files this report.
Nursing mothers at Tasha Bala community, Ngogo local government area of Kano State, took their babies to the primary health care center, Gayawa, for immunization. The children were given the vaccines immediately, and the health workers educated the women on the benefits of the vaccines.
To come immunization early at birth, to immunize their child, for example, polio, tuberculosis, to prevent polio, to prevent tuberculosis, to prevent hepatitis.
Meanwhile, the immunization vaccines are free and available at the designated health facilities, while there are efforts to also reach the remote areas.
It's free and it's available in all the health facilities. Apart from the services that are rendered at the health facilities, there's what we call outreach services, where the healthcare workers go to the settlement communities that are more than 2 kilometers away from the health facilities are being served through outreach services.
As part of strategies to ensure that all children across the state are vaccinated, the state government is collaborating with the traditional rulers in the state to sensitize residents on the benefits of the vaccines.
And part of the strategy was to use the Emirates, use the structure, because our people, they really value the culture, they respect the traditions. So if you want to reach the common man, you have to go through the traditional leaders.
The state government appealed to the traditional rulers in the state to compel their subjects to vaccinate their children against the killer diseases. Hamid Oyegbade, reporting for Trust TV.
Many people in Sokoto State have opted for sweet potatoes for their daily meal as they can no longer afford rice and other food items because of outrageous prices. Abubakar Imam reports that prices of commodities, particularly foodstuff, have gone beyond the reach of the common man in the state, which is attributed to insecurity and the hike in transport fares occasioned by the increase in fuel pump price.
Before this development, rice had been the common food in the state because Sokoto is one of the leading producers of rice, millet, and guinea corn in the country. But the hike in transportation fares has shot their prices upwards. A check at the grains market shows that the local rice is competing in terms of price with the imported rice, which is locally known as Shinkafa Dangote. A measure of local rice is between 1,800 naira and 1,900 naira, depending on the quality of the rice, while that of foreign rice is 2,200 naira. A 50 kilograms of foreign rice is sold at 38,000 naira, and its local equivalent is 32,000 naira. Prices of other grains have also skyrocketed, with a mudu or measure of millet is sold at 1,000 naira, while corn and guinea corn are being sold at 1,100 and 1,200 naira respectively. This is against their former prices of 700 naira each before the fuel price increase.
For most people, the implication on them is this: they have to reshuffle their lifestyle. Some that are eating 2 or 3 times before, now they have to eat once in a day. Maybe they eat in the morning and wait again till another morning. Or better still, they eat maybe 101. That is,
people go for it despite the cost, because it's also cost. But it's less better than that of yam. It's better than yam. So people go for it because it's affordable.
Malam Muhammad Ibrahim, a sweet potato seller, said their businesses is booming, unlike in the past when he hardly sold 1 bag of potato in a day. He attributed the patronage to the high cost of rice and other food items in the country. According to Malam Ibrahim, he sells 2 bags of potatoes now. The demands for sweet potatoes is high now because of the high cost of rice and other grains. 1 measure of rice, I think, is between 2,000 naira, 1,900 and 1,800, and one needs additional 1,500 naira for other ingredients. The residents are, however, optimistic that after the rainy season, the prices of food items, especially those produced in the state, will go down. Abubakar Awal Imam reporting for Trust TV.
Farmers in Bauchi State asked the federal government to come up with palliative for those in agriculture to guarantee food security. They made the call in an interview with Adamu Imam, stressing the need for the government to look inward in addressing food shortages in the country.
With food inflation biting hard in the country, the agricultural sector, which employs a substantial number of people, will naturally come to the fore. Farmers in Bauchi State are therefore asking the government to create the necessary incentives to mobilize them to produce enough food for the country. Gambo Ibrahim, a Bauchi-based farmer, says government has a sole responsibility for whatever affects the society, hence the need for new strategy in reaching the common man. We do not see the presence of government in terms of palliatives for farmers. They're supposed to check who are the real farmers to ascertain what kind of support to give. What we want now is new approach to reach us, we the local farmers, especially now that price of farm implements have doubled in the market. Even if you can make it to the level of getting excess food out of what you cultivate as a farmer, at least will reduce the pressure from poverty and hunger, while the authorities should rise up and do the needful in this country.
Suke rike da madafun iko wanda tattalin arzikin kasan yake hannunsu.
Farming can salvage the country from economic problems, but if space is available, many have interest in farming, but no government support or palliatives yet. The farmers also maintain that agriculture is the backbone of the Nigerian economy in view of its contribution to the gross domestic product, GDP. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Poultry farmers are appealing to the federal government to urgently intervene to arrest the dwindling fortunes in the agriculture sector, especially the poultry industry, and avert its imminent collapse. This and many more were the demands made by a cross-section of poultry farmers under the aegis of the Poultry Association in Nigeria at a media briefing held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Here's that report.
Farmers are saying, give us
Agriculture has contributed an average of 24% to the national GDP since 2018, providing job opportunities for Nigerians across its value chain. In 2019, the Central Bank of Nigeria categorized the poultry subsector as the most commercialized of the agriculture subsectors. Its net worth of 1.6 trillion naira represents about 25% of the sector's contribution to the GDP. However, it appears that the sector can no longer sustain this momentum. Stakeholders in the poultry industry are concerned that the current challenges could lead to a collapse of the industry. One crucial hurdle is the unavailability of maize, which is a major threat to the survival of birds. Government is therefore being urged to declare a state of emergency on maize.
Some of these challenges include, and not limited to, the following: high cost of feed, caused partly by raw material shortage, given the seasonal of the major raw materials inputs, namely maize, that form about 60% requirements, and soya bean meal, among others. That state emergency be declared on maize and soya production through the implementation of farm clearing, seed and fertilizer supply. Grain should be planted all year round, making it adequate. The Western Federal Government, they feed the, what is it called now? IDPs and correctional centers. They feed them every day. Why can't they buy eggs and use it in feeding them? We will not even have enough egg to sell. Look at all the inmates all over the country.
A first step would be to allow the importation of maize, which could then be supported by freeing access to credit. Stakeholders express a strong belief that addressing these bottlenecks will lead to a reduction in the existing high price of the commodity, thereby providing immediate relief to the struggling sector.
As Nigerians, especially the masses, continue to bear the consequences of overdependence on the petroleum industry for decades, experts are suggesting ways of surviving this present economic chaos. In this report, Jimmy Azande says that since the removal of fuel subsidy, residents of Benue State have resorted to tales of lamentations in group discussions. Here's his report.
For the petty traders in Makurdi, the tough times may have left no room for hope, despite promises by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to roll out palliative that will cushion the effect of the hardship among the masses.
Nothing is moving. Everything is standing still. No improvement. We sit down for market for morning till night. We know they sell shishi. As we come, that's how we go. We go sit down for 1 hour, 2 hours. I never see person say pam pam. the Nigerian economy is very, very bad. Nigeria don't turn upside down.
Mrs. Abba is one out of thousands of Benue residents who feel the consequences of a Nigeria driven more by petroleum economy. Policy analysts, however, blame Nigerians for failing to plan for times like this.
A lot of people are willing to venture into some of these industries that will yield them livelihood. A lot of people feel that it's by way of benefiting from government employment that you make it. People have refused to work. A lot of people are lazy. The trend in the country is issues of politics, and you see.
As Benue residents, like all other Nigerians, await the government's palliatives, analysts suggest what they said is best for the economy going forward.
There are people you will give 1 million naira today, come next week, 1 million naira is gone. Look at people who have tried in their own little ways to establish small businesses. Support them, and you see them scaling up their businesses, and you will see wealth will be created within the state.
The government is supposed to create an enabling environment for even the private sector to operate. That is, by providing critical infrastructures that will prepare the growth of private sector investment.
Some residents in Makurdi said they have not witnessed a time as tough as this in Nigeria's modern history. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Still talking about the effects of fuel subsidy removal, a senator representing Anambra Central in the Senate, Victor Ume, has asked the federal government to use the 500 billion naira it earmarked for palliative to build additional refinery instead of paying meager handouts to Nigerians. The lawmaker, who interfaces with newsmen at the National Assembly, says making petroleum product available will eliminate the need to continue with the fraudulent subsidy regime, whose stoppage has pushed Nigerians into untold hardship and economic subjugation. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Fuel subsidy is costing the nation 400 billion naira monthly, according to Nigeria's oil company, the NNPCL, making it difficult for government to make meaningful impact in other areas of development needs. Debate around removal of petroleum subsidy rages for quite some time until its recent stoppage by the Bola Tinubu administration. But experts are divided over the policy option due to its adverse effects on the nation's fragile economy. Senator Victor Ume is amongst those picking holes in the decision.
There must be a way of tackling our problems from the foundation. If we don't build refineries, why are you opposing subsidy if you don't have refineries that can refine these products and you have it available? So we have done it is a populist action by the president, but we have been caught napping because there's no substitute, there's no alternative source of these petroleum products. Government has had a request to approve 6 companies to bring in refined petroleum products. That's not the solution. We are having resort to importation again.
While the Nigerian government under President Tinubu is considering providing 8,000 naira monthly handouts to 12 million households in addition to salary increase, the lawmaker says such is grossly inadequate and will not address the negative impact of the subsidy removal.
Because Nigerians are suffering. But when the breakdown came out, everybody got disappointed. 8,000 naira per month to 12 million families. 8,000 before you leave here to the gate is vanished. Can a family live even on that 8,000? It's not possible. So a better plan would have been to use the 500 billion naira to build a refinery. Everybody will endure the pain. Within 4 years maximum, a refinery will be up here.
Nigerians' reliance on importation of refined petroleum product due to the nation's inability to keep the country's 4 refineries working necessitated the need for government subsidy, which has become a conduit pipe for monumental corruption. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The suspended Adamawa resident electoral commissioner Hudu Ari testified before the governorship election petition tribunal in state. Other witnesses also appeared before the tribunal sitting at the premises of the High Court in Yola. APC and its governorship candidate Aishatu Binani are the petitioners challenging the election of Governor Ahmadu Fintiri. Operatives of the Department of State Service, however, prevented newsmen from covering proceedings of the governorship election petition tribunal. The presidency has said former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has not fully recovered from the shock of defeat in the 2023 presidential election. Hence, his current comment that defies basic logic and rational thinking. Atiku had, in a statement, raised alarm over a alleged plot by APC-led federal government to intimidate judges handling election petition to deliver judgment in their favor. Reacting to this, the special advisor to the president on special duties, communications and strategy, Dele Alake, in a statement said the presidency noted that it was aware of the laughable and jejune statement by former vice president and People's Democratic Party presidential candidate in the last election, Atiku Abubakar. Alake reiterated that President Bola Tinubu won a free, fair and credible election on 25th of February 2023. The spokesperson of the president said Atiku accused the current administration of plotting to undermine the judiciary without any shred of evidence. Alake added that if the former vice president believes in democracy and the sanctity of the judiciary as claimed, he would not engage in making spurious and wild allegations aimed at disparaging and discrediting an important arm of the government that should serve as the bulwark for our democracy. According to the presidency, Atiku resorted to a cheap attempt to intimidate and blackmail the judiciary, even when he is party to a case before the Presidential Election Petition Court. The special advisor assured that President Tinubu and the APC absolutely have no reason to undermine the judiciary in the hope of any favorable judgment. Deputy Senate President Senator Barau Jibrin has announced the appointment of Professor Muhammad Ibn Abdullahi as Chief of Staff. Professor Bashir Muhammad Fage, Special Advisor, Policy and Monitoring, and the Deputy General Editor of Daily Trust newspapers, Ismail Modashir, Special Advisor, Media and Publicity. In a statement by his media office, Senator Barau also named Idris Abiola Ajimobi, the son of the late Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, as Special Advisor, Special Duties, Yusuf Aliyu Tumfafi, Special Advisor, Political, Ngozi Ndawi Nkendirim, a pioneer staff of the National Assembly, Special Advisor, Administration, and Shitu Madaki Kunchi, Special Assistant, Media and Publicity. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at why Nguru market remains passive 6 months after. Details of this story and more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that Nigeria records 836 cases, 80 deaths as Kano worst hit by disease. Sokoto State residents opt for sweet potatoes as cost of rice and other food items skyrockets. And now to security matters. 3 people, including a nursing mother and her child, have reportedly been abducted, while 2 security operatives sustained injuries in a fresh attack in Garingabas, Rafi local government area of Niger State. Garingabas has come under attack several times in the last 5 years. Residents told our reporter that the bandits in their numbers invaded the community when the villagers were sleeping. One of the residents said the bandits took away 2 motorcycles and set ablaze a security Hilux vehicle and a personal vehicle. 3 people, including a male and female nursing mother and her child, were kidnapped. Reports say security operatives engaged the attackers in a gun duel. When contacted, the Niger State Police Command's Public Relations Officer, DSP Wasiu Abiodun, promised to revert with details. But Niger State government confirmed the attack in a statement through the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Bologi Ibrahim, who described the attack as unfortunate. The State Governor, Mohamed Umaru Bago, also sympathized with the victims and Kagara Emirate over the attack. The governor appealed to the people to show more understanding with his administration, as he is not leaving anything to chance as regards securing lives and property of the citizens of the state. He also called on the people to be security cautious and provide intelligence to relevant authorities for proactive steps in addressing the situation. One person has been reportedly killed in Kankia town, headquarters of Kankia local government area of Katsina State. The incident occurred when the suspected bandits attacked a residential area opposite General Hospital, Kankia, around 9 p.m. Saturday, where the victim was said to have visited his brother. The deceased, identified as Ibrahim Abdullahi, was said to have been shot around his groin while he was standing at the front yard of his brother's residence, not knowing that the attackers were in the area. A relative of the deceased, who simply identified himself as Mohammed, said the attackers had earlier kidnapped a young boy in the area, but after the shooting, they released the boy and fled the scene. Though not one of the frontline local government areas in Katsina State, Kankia has suffered pockets of banditry attacks in the past. Police spokesperson in Katsina, ASP Abubakar Sadiq Aliyu, could not be reached for confirmation as at the time of filing this report. Activities of bandits are making life unbearable in most farming communities across Katsina State. There are reports of attacks, killings, abductions, and animals rustling every day in Katsina State. Earlier, we spoke to Trust TV reporter in Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi. He gave an update on some of the recent attacks in the state.
Well, the most recent ones were that of Ibrahim Abdullahi, who was killed Saturday night at Kankia, headquarters of Kankia local government area of Katsina State. And then there are also other attacks. 2 people simply identified as Dan Asibi and Isa Meragadada in the district of Safana local government area were killed this Sunday afternoon. The 2 people were separately killed while working on their farms. In the same vein, a ward head was also killed in Saya village area of Matazu local government just recently, while at Kawe Lungu of Dan Ali area of Dan Musa local government, another farmer was also shot dead few days ago. Then few kilometers away from that community, that is Dan Ali of Dan Musa local government area, is Samir Jino in Kankara local government, where hundreds of people have been sacked from their farms by bandits. They are also threatening to kill anyone who make attempts to cultivate his farmland. These are other problems that are being witnessed in some of the farming communities in Katsina State. These are some of the attacks we have received, and information available indicate that people are living in fears. In most of the farming communities, they cannot go to their farms, and this is a rainy season everywhere in Katsina State. In fact, all efforts to get security's response on these recent attacks failed up to the time of compiling this report or information.
Still sticking with security matters, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, has warned residents of Mangu local government area of Plateau State to surrender all illegally acquired weapons in their possession. The Army Chief gave the warning during a stakeholders meeting held in Pilot Primary School in Mangu town of Mangu local government area. Adamu Musa completes this report.
This meeting of stakeholders brings together representatives of the Mwagavul Development Association and Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Christian Association of Nigeria, and Jama'at Nasrul Islam from the area. The meeting, according to the Nigerian Army, is part of the continued effort to find lasting solution to the crisis that has led to the loss of many lives and properties in the area. The Army Chief, after listening to the submission of all the warring parties and religious leaders, has one ultimatum to give that all residents of the area must submit all illegally acquired weapons or get killed.
Collect the arms from them and warn them not to constitute themselves into militia groups. The government has the charge, the responsibility to organize, train, equip, and maintain the military, and the government has done that. So if you have differences, report to the appropriate channel and it will be taken up.
Major General Lagbaja further draws the attention of the residents of the area to the effect of violence on the future of their children. He is pointing out that the crisis may rob the children of the opportunity to become leaders of tomorrow.
I will not condone that. If I don't tell you the truth, I will only be deceiving myself.
Earlier in their separate remarks, the representatives of Mwagavul and Fulani communities identify some of the differences with each other.
As long as we don't tell each other the truth, this will continue. I discovered that all the while I'm doing a talk show, and we go back and we do a different thing entirely. A different thing entirely. And that is our problem. If my brother, the chairman here, Allah is telling the truth, it must be reflected in action. But these things are not reflected in action.
Fulani, an kori na kora. Yanzu da nake maka magana wallahi ban san inda Fulani ka wannan gurare suke ba.
All Fulani herders in the area of Ampam and Mangul district have been chased away. I don't know where they are at the moment. If what we are saying is true, what has the Fulani in these areas did to deserve what they have witnessed? I'm the leader of Fulani in the local government area. If something happens in some of the areas where Fulani were chased away, who should I call to investigate? We have to stop this. It won't take us anywhere. It is hoped that with the stakeholders meeting led by the Chief of Army Staff and the recent deployment of more security personnel, the crisis in Mangu General area will be eradicated. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Similarly, the Plateau State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board has denied the reported killing of 9 pilgrims along Mangu Shendam Road while returning to their communities in Shendam local government area of the state after performing this year's Hajj in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The news of the killing came amidst the crisis that rocked Mangu local government area where hundreds of people were killed. Last week, many social media handles were flooded with the story of the killing of pilgrims, a situation that generated condemnation by social media users. Namu Sanusi, the spokesperson of the board, told Daily Trust that all the 1,500 pilgrims have returned to the state after this year's Hajj adding that the pilgrims have arrived their various destinations safely. He said that out of the 1,500 pilgrims that went for the Hajj from Plateau State, 2 died in Saudi Arabia. Apart from that, nobody died. The spokesperson, however, called on people in the state to discard such story. Still in Plateau State, the state government has denied the story making the rounds that over 1,000 cows have died of a strange disease within a space of 4 days in some villages in Mangu local government area of the state. Daily Trust on Sunday reports that there has been a trending story on social media and in some national dailies on the reported death of cows. But the Plateau State government, in a statement by the Director of Press and Public Affairs to the Governor, Gang Berry, said the story was not true. The government urged the public, particularly members of the Said community, to disregard the misleading story and assured Plateau people that a team of epidemiologists have been sent to the affected communities on the instruction of Governor Caleb Manasseh Mufwang to ascertain the truth of the story to prevent loss of lives. The statement, however, said there are 2 suspected cases of anthrax disease in 2 communities in the state, adding that samples have been taken to National Veterinary Research Institute for thorough assessment and further investigation. Former Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, wants adherents of different religions to promote tolerance and mutual respect to engender communal harmony in the country. Speaking with journalists on the sideline of a reception held in his honor in his Oro hometown, Kwara State, Mohammed said Muslims and Christians should cohabit together without any hindrance. He said religious extremism is a major challenge around the globe, which should not be encouraged.
All over the world, one of the greatest challenges humanity is facing today is extremism. And extremism could come in form of political view or religious view. And in most cases, one overlaps the other. For those of us, right, familiar with the Boko Haram insurgency, it's basically intolerance and extremism on the part of some zealots who believe that other adherents of other religions are inferior. And this is why I think I find unique about my community. It's a big statement about the tolerance of people. And I only hope that other communities can also borrow a leaf from them. Religion is a matter of choice. So this is what I say, that my people are very, very religiously tolerant.
As part of measures taken towards flood control, the Delta State government has started demolition awareness exercise to owners of buildings top of waterways in the state. According to the state government, the decision was taken as part of measures towards flood control in order to avoid a repeat of the flood menace experienced in the state recently. The Director General on Special Duties, Frank Omare, gave the directive to residents in Wari, Uvwe on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, during the inspection of some major drainages that have been blocked with buildings and illegal structures in the state. Omare said the directive is only for owners of buildings standing on waterways in the state to be demolished, urging them to move out their properties as any structures on top waterways must be demolished. Omare has warned property developers to desist from building on natural waterways, adding that houses on waterways and right-of-ways will be demolished. He added further that the state government desire to see an immediate end to flooding in all major cities in the state. And now to business. Business activities in Nguru ultra-modern market are yet to commence nearly 6 months after Yobe State Governor Maimala Buni commissioned the market. In this report, Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin investigates why this place remains empty 3 years after completion. A report.
This is Guru, a town in the Nigeria's northeastern state of Yobe. For generations, it remains one of the most important commercial centers in the Nigeria's north. Although neglected, abandoned and deserted, the Guru train station was once used to transport cattle and other agricultural produce to different parts of the country, while the popular Guru cattle and central markets helps attract traders from Chad and Niger Republic. Not long ago, Yobe State government constructed this ultra-modern market in Guru, hoping to enhance economic activities and to attract local investments into the area. Nearly 6 months after commissioning, there seems to be no sign of commercial activities here.
If I can recall, it is only a month or so that we were inaugurated as board members in this market.
Okay.
So it is now that we are starting to see that how to make things go through. Therefore, it has not stayed long. But I assure you, in next 3-6 months, if you come to Nguru, you will be surprised.
Residents who were hitherto trading here are relocated to the opposite side and were promised shops upon completion of the market. Now they allege that shops and stores are only given to politicians and highly influential people. They have given the market allocation, but none of us was given a single shop. They only divided the shops, shared the shops among politicians, big businessmen, and highly influential people within and outside Guru. They are given shops here at between 200 to 300,000 naira. Honestly, we cannot afford. It's not that we don't want to do the business or we don't want the trade. This is what we do every day. This is what keeps us alive. But the money is too much for us to pay. The traders are also under notice to vacate this place within the next 2 weeks. Almost all the people you see around here were the people trading inside this park before the construction of this market. Now the market has been constructed, shops were allocated. Unfortunately, none of these people, none of them was given a single shop. Although authorities handling the market claimed that trading will soon commence here, but residents in Guru are however worried on whether this ultra-modern market is a project dead on arrival. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Yobe.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news will return shortly.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja to represent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at two major international summits in Rome, Italy, and St. Petersburg, Russia. The Vice President will be in Rome between Monday 24th and Wednesday 26th July to participate in the UN Food Systems Summit. A statement signed by Olushola Abiola, the Director of Information in the Office of the Vice President, explained that Vice President Shettima would join other global leaders for the first stock-taking moment summit, during which he would chair a high-level session. Vice President Shettima will be in St. Petersburg between Wednesday 26 to Saturday 29 July to represent the President at the Russia-Africa Summit. The Vice President will join other political and business leaders to strategize on enhancing relations between Russia and the African continent. Vice President Shettima will also participate in bilateral meetings with representatives of relevant Russian senior government officials and business leaders to discuss relations between Russia and Nigeria. Now, away from Nigeria, at least 12 people have been killed and more than a dozen others injured after a 4-story building collapsed in Cameroon's commercial hub and largest city, Douala, 210 kilometers west of the capital, Yaoundé. The block caved in and fell onto another smaller residential building at around 1 a.m. local time. Casualty figures are expected to rise as rescue workers, assisted by Cameroon government troops, continue to sift through the wreckage to see if more bodies can be recovered. Douala's La Quintine Hospital stated it had taken in 13 patients and said 2, a girl of 3 and a 19-year-old woman, had died. It added 3 other children among those injured were receiving emergency pediatric treatment. Douala City Council is currently demolishing houses in high-risk zones susceptible to floods or landslides, but the building that collapsed on Sunday was not marked for demolition. And now finally in sports news, let's join Kabir Lawal for sports news.
We start the football story in Chad, where Africa's 5th largest country invites Super Eagles legend Austin Okocha. Chad's football scene received a football boost as Chadian Football Federation (CFF), with the participation of Nigerian football legend Austin Okocha in the finals country's National League champions. Joining Okocha in celebration of Chadian football will be Senegalese football hero Khalilou Fadiga, adding that the excitement and prestige of the occasion. The CFF sees Okocha and Fadiga as shining examples of African success stories, particularly for football enthusiasts and aspiring players in Chad. With ambitions to develop the national championship and strengthen Chadian football clubs, the CFF is openly embracing the potential that comes with inviting such intercontinental stars to grace the final. The move is expected not to only elevate the standard of football in the country, but also attract significant attention and interest. Anthony Joshua seems to be getting his mojo back. The former world champion has been showing signs and brandishing impressive training regime capable of scaring the faint-hearted, but it is difficult to believe that Anthony Joshua will get back to what he was inspired 10 years ago. After back-to-back defeats by Olander Orski, who took his world titles, and a less inspiring victory of points over Jamden Franklin, follower of sports have every reason to think that the 2012 Olympic champion has seen his best days. And now to basketball. Asitan Dareso made her presence felt throughout the 2023 FIBA Under-16 World African Championship. It came as a surprise that she was named the most valuable player MVP of the tournament. She was joined in all-tournament team by 4 other players who inspired their countries to podium finish. The 14-year-old Dareso stamped her outstanding performance with 19 points, 4 rebounds and 4 steals as Mali beat Egypt 57-56 in the final of biennial continental competition. Dareso averaged 23 points and 4.8 rebounds in 6 games, and besides our Most Valuable Player award, she took home 2 other individual awards, the Best Scorer and the Best 3-point awards of the tournament. A leather 3-point specialist, Dareso was 5 for 15 from long range in the semi-finals and finals, as Mali reminded everyone who rulers of Under-16 tournaments in Africa are. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawal.
Thank you, Kabir Lawal, for that sports news. And with that, we'll wrap up the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.